welcome back to the channel, guys. This is Overkill, and today I'm going to be doing my first ever review on the TPR Rudder pedals by Thrustmaster. I'd like to start off by apologizing for the poor video quality. Unfortunately, I've never done this before, hadn't used the camera, so I'm pretty sure it was just the settings on it. We're going to start off with a quick unboxing. I'm not typically one for doing unboxing, but I know that some viewers do enjoy these. And I also felt that it was sort of prudent given the dollar amount of these rudder pedals, as they come in at just over $500 US. I ordered mine from Amazon. I'll be throwing a link in the description below if you guys are interested. Got 2-day shipping on them, always a bonus. The initial package came with a outer box that had the paper wrapping all around it, and then there was a secondary box with this box inside of it. All of the pieces are packaged very, very well and very, very tight and secure. The pedals are wrapped individually on the sides of the box. Everything is also encased in the cellophane wrap, which was pretty nice to see, but nothing too other than less than expected from Thrustmaster. When I bought my Warthog, it was the same thing. Everything was always wrapped very, very nicely. All of the pendulum axes are tightly secured with the wire wraps you can see there in the plastic wrap there. The plastic wrap encases the entire unit, so it was, again, nice to see. Don't have any concerns about scratching or dings or dangs. I didn't see any damage to the box indicating that it had been mishandled. You have your wrenches that come with it. There's two standard wrenches as well as two Allen wrenches for the adjustment screws. And then you have the, again, as I said, the pedals on each side. Pretty black and white packaging. Just pull everything out of your bags and make sure that you have all your parts. The pedals should have the locking nuts already attached to them, so if for any reason one is missing, that is something that you're going to want to address pretty quickly. If you are wiser than I am, you will win this fight against the plastic surrounding the actual rudder pedals themselves. For me, it gave me quite the fight, but luckily I persevered and was able to finally get the plastic wrap off of the damn pedals. Golden rule, be smarter than the object you're working with, and apparently today I just wasn't. So once we get past this part, you get the nice gorgeous set of TPR rudder pedals. I mean, they just look gorgeous. They have some very good weight to them. The base is nice and wide. They don't tip. They don't oscillate at all. Assembly was very, very easy. You just remove the wire ties, allowing the pendulum axis to be free. Take away the locking nut off each rudder pedal. Slide it through its the bottom post there, and then resecure your nut on the other side. They come with a wrench, as I said, for locking those nuts down. However, be careful using those, as I wasn't particularly impressed with the cut of the wrench themselves, meaning that the wrench sort of fits very loosely around the nuts, and that can cause stripping. Okay, so my recommendation is, if you have your own wrenches at home, and I should have done this myself as I have a ton of them, quite frankly I was just too excited. I was sort of like a little kid. But get a wrench that actually fits from your toolbox if you have one available, and just for a little added security. To secure the pedals to the pendulum, you can see there that I had to sort of turn that back plate, and that sort of part was a little disconcerting because you had to turn it pretty hard to get it to rotate to where you could actually screw it onto the pedal. I'm sure this was by design, but just be careful when turning that. It's still a pretty thin piece of metal, and the joint looks like it wasn't designed to sort of carry a lot of twisting abuse, so just make sure you don't actually pull on the on that pin sticking out there itself, and try to turn it from the base. But once you find your desired location, so what you see me doing here is this will be part of what's adjusting the angle of the pedal itself as it's resting on the ground. So the more up towards the top, the more vertical the pedal is going to be. The more down towards the bottom, towards the desk there, the more the rudder pedal will lay flat. And then same thing with the bolt that you see there up to the top of the rudder pedal, just to the left on the screen right now. That will also allow you to adjust the angle of the pedal even further. But other than that, pretty simple. As you can see, I can move it very freely with my hand. these things move like glass right from the start. I was incredibly impressed. The tension straight out of the box was very comfortable. I didn't feel a need to adjust it. I may mess with that later on the week. As I begin using them more, I may tighten them up a little bit. But straight out of the box, the tension is set at a very comfortable level. It wasn't ridiculously loose. At its current tension, I don't feel a need to mount them to the floor. I haven't had any reason to do so yet, so that was kind of nice. The other advantage that I found right away after setting these down on the floor was I'm able to push them all the way to the back of my desk. Okay, so the back plate is actually touching the back of my desk, and I'm still able to completely use the full range of motion on the rudder pedals as well as the brake axis. The brake pedals, even so, if I push the right rudder to full in and also apply right brake, the right brake pedal does not touch the back of my desk. So that was a very pleasant surprise. I was not expecting that. So just a quick turn here. We're just wrapping up the installation of the right pedal, and then we'll get into the software installation, which again was quite the breeze. Something you want to be ready for when doing the software is if you already have the Warthog drivers installed, you're going to want to uninstall them, which the installation software will allow you to do. But you can see here I'm using one of their wrenches, and as I said before, hindsight being 2020, I don't recommend it. Get your own wrench out of your toolbox because it was very, very loose. I was very, very hesitant to tighten it down, and I probably will still go and get the actual wrench from my toolbox and tighten it down. Okay. USB cable, real simple and sweet. You have the main port that goes in the back of it, and then you have your USB 2.0 slot that goes into the back of your computer. But the port was real easy to find once you look in the right spot. I was expecting it to be down low, but it's actually right there above the pendulum axis that you can see there, just underneath the tags. And that's it. That's a wrap. You now have your rudder pedal set. And you can adjust the tension springs there on the back of it if you choose. Again, I felt no need to. So coming up to our browser, we're just going to go to thrustmaster.com. When you get to the Thrustmaster webpage, you want to highlight support and click download. I unfortunately clicked support here, but you can just come back up, select download, and you get a list of all the available software. After you do your search for TPR is the easiest way to do it. You don't have to type in the whole thing. And then here you can find all of the necessary software. If you want to use the scripting software, you can, but here you grab the drivers first, the calibration software, and then the target key mapping software if you choose to use that, which I'll be doing a tutorial on that tomorrow as well. So once we have our software, we'll go ahead and run the driver installation, which is 2018 TMHW_1. Go ahead and install. If you have Windows 10, it will have it as an unrecognized software. Now, as I said, if you already have the software and drivers installed, the first thing it's going to ask you to do is if you want to remove it. So go ahead and let it remove it. That way you do a fresh installation of the drivers. Okay, now we'll go ahead and hit the reinstall. Hit next. We'll accept our user license agreement, or EULA. Select your directory. I always recommend using it on the OS directory as it's associated with the registry. Tend to get the fastest retrieval. And obviously when dealing with drivers, you want it on your fastest drive, which I would assume is where you guys would have your OS as well. But okay, make sure all your Thrustmaster devices are installed. I have the Cougar MFDs, the Thrustmaster Warthog, and now the TPR pedals. Okay, installation is complete. Next thing we'll do is launch the calibration. Now, I think this is relatively new software. I'd never seen this before, and this is what the rudders look like when you first start going haywire, but all you're going to do is apply the axis. And you can see the glowing scale bars at the top and bottom, but these are your dead zones. So by moving these objects up, you can see that left rudder sort of ticking there just a little bit. And that's actually the left brake axis, excuse me. So right now I'm pulling them back to full. Okay, watching that left one, it's still sort of ticking just a little bit there. So I'm going to set that left one just a little bit of dead zone, just enough to count for that. Okay, everything else looked good. All we're doing is looking for those rocking numbers within the actual assigned zone. Hit apply, and then it will ask you to unplug your device. So all I did was reach under my USB hub, unplugged the rudder pedals, and they were done. Now if you plug it back in, it's going to start the process all over again. So at this point, you simply just unplug your device, close the calibration tool, plug your device back in. From here, I went into DCS. All you do is go into your controls. You want to clear the control category under your axis tuning for the TPR pedals, as it will bind to the pitch, rudder, and roll axis. Assign your Z axis to the rudders, X to the left toe brake, Y to the right toe brake. You don't have to invert any of the axis. I didn't set any dead zones or curvatures. The Huey was a dream to fly with them. I figured the best way to test these was with a helicopter, as they require the most rudder input of any other aircraft, and if anything, they were almost too sensitive right off the bat. Now, with that being said, too sensitive because I wasn't used to the sensitivity. I mean, they are very, very precise. It was very nice feeling. It took a second to get used to, but absolutely worth it. My pedals before this were the CH rudder pedals. I had no issue with them. It was just they were 2 years old and felt I wanted an upgrade. But in comparison, I mean, you don't get any of the center detent like you get with the CH or the spring-loaded pedals. You don't get any of that plasticky feeling. The positioning of the pedals is very natural. Felt really, really good. From here, I went over to the F-18, sort of taxied around the deck for a minute. Just to sort of get that turn radius and get that visual feel of what it was going to be like. And it was, for the first time, the rudder pedals do exactly what you feel like they're going to do. When you put X amount of input, you get that same response. So I hope you guys really enjoyed this tutorial or this review. I highly recommend these. These were absolutely a wonderful purchase. Yes, they are expensive. They're just over $500 US. I'll leave the link in the description below. But again, I absolutely recommend these. If you're looking for that next level product that has a lot of modulation, has a lot of customization to your particular footing or your positioning, these are the pedals for you. Until next time, this is Overkill.